The floods in China have caused a major natural disaster affecting numerous provinces, especially Hunan, Shaanxi, and Sichuan. Heavy rains have submerged vast agricultural areas and forced hundreds of thousands of residents to evacuate their homes. This event has highlighted the urgent need to improve emergency response and recovery operations in the country. In Hunan, the situation is particularly severe. The city of Nanyang, the hardest hit, recorded more than 600 millimeters of rain in a 24-hour period. The floods have inundated tens of thousands of acres of fertile farmland and displaced over 100,000 people. Rescuers have had to use speedboats to navigate the flooded streets, often wading waist-deep in water to rescue people from their submerged homes. The economic consequences of these floods are significant. The destruction of farmland threatens local and national food production, while damage to infrastructure, including roads and buildings, is substantial. Local authorities are assessing the total impact and planning long-term recovery and reconstruction efforts. In Shaanxi, heavy rains have caused the Han River to overflow, flooding vast areas of farmland and destroying thousands of hectares of crops. This situation has raised concerns about food security in the country. Authorities have set up temporary housing centers for the victims and deployed helicopters and military units to deliver food and medicine to remote and inaccessible areas. In Sichuan, the situation is equally critical. The Central Meteorological Observatory has issued red and orange alerts in 36 and 15 counties respectively, indicating extreme weather conditions. The city of Dujianjian, known for its ancient irrigation system, has experienced severe flooding, with roads and underground parking lots submerged. The Zipingpu Reservoir on the Upper Min River is experiencing high inflow, increasing the risk of further flooding. The Chinese government's response has been swift and extensive. Thousands of rescue workers have been mobilized, and temporary shelters have been set up to house the displaced. Rescue operations continue in various provinces, where rescuers are recovering submerged vehicles and searching for missing people. In Shaanxi, for example, 5 vehicles with a total of 11 lives lost have been recovered, while searches continue for 20 vehicles and over 30 missing people. Climate change is exacerbating the frequency and severity of these extreme weather events. Experts warn that phenomena like torrential rains and floods will become more common in the future. This has led the Communist Party of China to formally acknowledge the gravity of the situation and commit to improving disaster monitoring, prevention, and control measures. In addition to the current rains, China faces the imminent threat of Typhoon Prapran, expected to bring strong winds and more precipitation. Authorities are urging residents in potentially dangerous areas to evacuate and are taking all possible measures to minimize damage. In recent weeks, nearly 250,000 people were evacuated in eastern China due to storms that caused rivers to overflow. The storm affected nearly 1 million residents in Anhui province, with more than 240,000 people forced to evacuate. Flash floods partially collapsed the K46+200 bridge toward Shaoyang on the Danning Highway, further complicating rescue operations. Transportation infrastructure across the country has suffered significant disruptions. Regional transportation connections, including roads, rail lines, and airports, have been closed. In Chengdu, the capital of Hunan, subway floods left hundreds of people trapped underground as rescue services worked tirelessly to free them. In Sichuan, heavy rains have affected the new Chengdu-Kunming railway, causing train delays and disrupting schedules. In Longnan, Gansu province, rains have caused landslides and river overflows, severely impacting local transportation and access to affected areas. Traffic police have implemented controls on dangerous roads to manage the flow of vehicles and pedestrians. Rescue and recovery operations are complex and challenging. Authorities are deploying all available resources, including helicopters and military units, to deliver food and medicine to the hardest-hit areas. The international community has expressed support and is ready to assist China in these difficult times. Hunan province has experienced record rainfall in a short period, causing river levels to rise and dams to collapse. The city of Chengdu is almost completely flooded, with many streets turned into rivers and transportation connections paralyzed. Local authorities are working intensively on rescue and evacuation operations, but the scale of the disaster complicates these efforts. In Shaanxi, many rural areas have been isolated due to the destruction of roads and bridges. In Sichuan, landslides and collapses caused by intense rains have injured and destroyed many homes. Chinese authorities will not only have to deal with the consequences of the current floods, but also develop more effective strategies to combat future natural threats. China is learning hard lessons from these natural disasters. The need to improve systems for predicting and preventing such disasters is evident. Authorities must strengthen infrastructure, improve emergency response measures, and work closely with the international community to mitigate the impacts of climate change and protect the population from future extreme weather events.
깜빡이지. 나 소스를 치잖아.